Welcome, viewers, to another fabulous episode of Unapologetically Free. Now, today I'm going to talk about the one trait that you men out there need to kill off in order to ensure success. And this one trait is impatience. Now, hear me. I've always set high goals, extremely ambitious goals, since a young age. Now, many a times, however, my goals have never met because my lack of consistency, or rather, of this trait of hastiness that is present in me. I was repulsed with the idea of taking things slowly, and I would rather want to achieve things overnight. I abandoned the idea of being thorough in practicing correctly, but instead, for example, if I had acne on my face, I wanted to get rid of it in 3 days' time. If I was fat, I wanted to lose 5 kilograms in 3 days. And over the course of years, reality hit me. That is, whenever you set this kind of unrealistic goals, you cannot make progress. Now, I still do believe in setting unrealistic goals, but what you do need to be realistic about is the time frame that you use to set these goals. The time frame, especially if these goals relate to the building up of certain skills. Now, if your goal is limited by creativity, you could achieve what you set out to do in a shorter number of years or months. But if it is about building a skill set, such as playing the violin, such as coding, such as learning a language, you need to put in that consistency of effort. You need to put in consistency of effort. Now, let me just give you an analogy. If progress is the distance you travel, then by and large, the normal person would travel best through walking to make progress. Now, a well trained person may choose to jog and eventually even run consistently through this journey that we call life and not turn out tired. But it is a fool's task to embark on a journey, sprinting and eventually getting tired. Ultimately, you will travel further by making consistent strides. Now, I saw this repeating as a principle throughout my life, and the few times that I did succeed in something, or rather anything, it is because I focus on taking daily action, step by step, bit by bit, every single day. Now, I always hear of stories of how the New Year resolution people would go to the gym because it's New Year resolutions. Everyone has the same goals of not wanting to be fat, wanting six-pack abs, whatever, that whole 9 yards. So what happens is even the gyms know, and they will prepare extra equipment for the first few weeks of the year. But what happens is perhaps 1, 2, 3 weeks in, most of them would scatter, their willpower would run out because they exerted too much in the first few days. Instead of focusing on achievable daily action that is easy, they rather go 10 upon 10 for a sprint. They sprinted well at the start and then they burn out in the end. And the reason for all of this? Impatience. Impatience. Now, the tough truth is, an impatient person will seldom succeed. An impatient person will seldom succeed. And if you find yourself trapped in this cycle of needing to succeed in 3 days, next week, or even next month, you are gearing yourself up for failure. You cannot grow overnight. Maturity or even mastery of skills take time. Now, don't despise the small steps. Don't yearn for overnight success. It's not so much that overnight fame is impossible, but that it is tremendously unlikely. And if it is fame that we are talking about, it is seldom based on skill. Now, if you apply this to NoFap, you will have an issue if you keep wishing and hoping for benefits 3 days into NoFap or even 7 days into NoFap, because what most of us know that it takes at least 90 days for your brain to heal, and you will have to go past that withdrawal symptoms. But if you set that naive expectation of thinking that your life would change in 1 week, you are setting yourself up for failure. Learn to be comfortable in waiting for the harvest after you have sown the seeds of action. Some things do take time, and expanding my vision to see who I can be 5 years later and then taking daily action every single day for the next 5 years will bring me so much further compared to thinking about who I can be 5 days later. Because if I take daily action for 5 days, if for the next 5 days I jog every single day, it doesn't seem much. But just imagine with me if for the next 5 years I jog every single morning. Now, taken in a micro perspective, a day's worth of jogging isn't really that intense, isn't really that tough. But if I add up the benefits of jogging every single day for 5 years, you bet I'm going to be so much fitter. My mind is going to be so much clearer. I'm going to be in such a great state of health through this consistency of applying daily action. In fact, if you just think in terms of very short time periods, it will even feel depressing when you realize that there is little growth within 5 days. So the one thing you do want to apply is to take daily action. Take daily action. Now, I don't care what action you take. You are the one who chooses it. I don't care what your emotions are for that day. I don't care whatever happened. Just develop the discipline to do something consistently daily. Now, make sure it's not something that is very tough. Don't run a marathon every single day. That is stupid. Don't do that. Do something that you can consistently do for 1 year, and then consistently do it. And then you will experience so much growth at the end of 1 year compared to perhaps even the past decades that you have lived your life with. Now, the man that succeeds in life is the one who has mastered his emotions and is able to keep on doing something consistently every single day. If you wish to master conversing with people, do it daily, improve daily. If it is coding, then code daily. If it is mastering a certain music instrument, then do it daily. If it is to improve your business, then take action daily that moves you towards your goal. Just don't be overly aggressive in your pursuit for growth. Have that discipline to not go too far and yet not do too little, but to take steps every single day. Now, the bodybuilder that lifts weight that he is not ready for, which in this case means it's too heavy, is doing himself a huge disservice because he may get injured, because he might even go backwards in his training. Therefore, I end off with this one quote that stuck with me whenever I feel like there is no progress. And this one quote is something I really love, and it goes, "One step may not make a mile, but it is still a step anyhow." Now, don't focus on the mile, focus on the step, and the mile will come. Now, I hope you like this video. If you do, like it, comment, subscribe, share this video, and I'll see you again.